Hello everyone, welcome to WAPEX Shorts. I hope you are all doing good. From today, I am going to start a new series. In this series, I am going to discuss various topics related to painting, like what kind of paints are available in the market, or how many brushes do I need to start my art journey with, or do I need to learn drawing before painting, and so on. I will also share my own art journey with all of you. So without further delay, let's start our episode. In today's art world, there are countless choices of paint mediums with which we can paint, like acrylics, watercolor, pastel, poster colors, and many more. Selecting a painting medium is a personal choice. As you gain experience, you will eventually come to know which paint medium is best for you. But before deciding that, you have to learn something about paint first. Now, first of all, we need to understand that all the paints are made of pigment. Now, you must be thinking what the pigment is. Pigment is nothing but a color. Another thing that paints are made up of are binder. Binder is a substance that holds the particles of pigment together in a paint. Every paint needs some kind of binder. Now I am sure you know a little bit about paint. Now when we talk about paint or painting, you usually think about acrylics, watercolor and oil paints. Now what are these and which one is best for you? If you have these kind of questions, then you must watch this video till the end. Now let's discuss paint mediums one by one. First of all, I will talk about oil paints. As the name suggests, oil paints are based on oil. You always need a solvent to thin your paint and to clean your brushes. Oil paints are sticky and smelly at the same time. It is very hard to paint with oil paints. But the interesting thing about oil paint is that the artists are using it from at least 500 years. Yes, you heard it right. Pretty much every painting that you see in a museum from before 1950 is made up of oil paints. So now after listening all about oil paints, if you have decided to use it, then you must know the brands from which you can buy oil paints. The first one is Winsor & Newton, second Blick Studio Oils, and the third one is Daniel Smith Original Oil Colors. Now let's talk about another famous medium, that is watercolors. Watercolors are generally transparent. In other words, you can say that the paint will dissolve when you add a little bit of water. If you have decided to paint with watercolors, then you must remember that the drying time of watercolor is very quick. It often means that you have to decide very quickly. Watercolors generally comes in pans and tubes. Now what are pans? Pans are like cakes that can be activated by adding just a little water. So the next question that comes to your mind must be, should I buy student grade watercolors or artist grade watercolors? So the answer to this question is that you should definitely buy artist grade watercolors. Why? Because you always need a little bit of paint for your painting and your paints will last longer. So why buy student grade paint when you can get an experience from artist grade paints? Now if you have decided to use watercolors, then you should definitely know the famous brands from which you can buy watercolors. The first one is Winsor & Newton, second Mozart watercolor paint set, third Arteza Premium watercolor paint. Now the third paint medium is acrylic paints. This one is my favorite. Acrylic paints are based on water but became water resistant when dry. Around 70s, artists started using acrylic paints. Since then, the popularity of acrylic paints increased exponentially. The acrylic paints are quite popular because of its drying time. Acrylic paints are ideal for beginners, doodlers, and even for kids. You can use acrylic paints on almost all the surfaces like pottery, metals, stones, fabric, almost on everything. You only need water and soap to clean your brushes and your hands. Now acrylic paints comes in tubes and cans. Now if you are a beginner and don't know about anything about acrylic paints or brands, then you should definitely buy an artist kit from the nearby store. Now the next common question that comes to our mind when we have decided to use acrylic paints is that which brand should I choose? Now the famous brands for acrylic paints are Liquitex, Winsor & Newton and Arteza. Now I hope you have learned something new today. In the next video, we will talk about other topics and start our paint journey. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye.